Mohammad Jawad Zarif is an Iranian career diplomat and academic. He has been Foreign Minister of Iran since 2013. During his tenure as Foreign Minister, he led the Iranian negotiation with P5+1 countries which produced the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action on 14 July 2015, lifting the economic sanctions against Iran on 16 January 2016. On 25 February 2019, Zarif resigned from his post as Foreign Minister. His resignation was rejected by Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and he continues as Foreign Minister. Before assuming his current position, he held various significant diplomatic and cabinet posts. He is a visiting professor at the School of International Relations and University of Tehran, teaching diplomacy and international organizations. He was the permanent representative of Iran to the United Nations from 2002 to 2007. He served as an advisor and senior advisor to the Foreign Minister, Deputy Foreign Minister in Legal and International Affairs, member of the UN Eminent Persons Group on Dialogue Among Civilizations, head of the UN Disarmament Commission in New York, and Vice President for International Affairs of the Islamic Azad University. Zarif was born in Tehran around 1960, although other sources have given the year of birth as 1959 and 1961. According to the New Republic, Zarif was born to an affluent, religiously devout and politically conservative merchant family in Tehran. His father was one of the most well-known businessmen of Isfahan, and his mother Efat Kashani was the daughter of one of the most famous businessmen of Tehran. He was educated at the Alawi School, a private religious institution. Zarif was shielded from TV, radio, and newspapers by his parents as a youth. Instead, he became exposed to revolutionary ideas by reading the books of Ali Shariati and Samad Behrangi. At age 17, he left Iran for the United States. Zarif attended Drew College Preparatory School, a private college preparatory high school located in San Francisco, California. He went on to study at San Francisco State University, from which he gained a BA in 1981 and MA in 1982, both in international relations. Following this, Zarif continued his studies at the Joseph Goebbels School of International Studies, University of Denver, from which he obtained a second MA in International Relations in 1984 and a PhD in International Law and Policy in 1988. His thesis was titled, Self-Defense in International Law and Policy. Tom Rowe, a professor at the graduate school who led the committee that oversaw Zarif's dissertation, said, "He was among the very best students that I've ever taught." Wade Nander, who taught and was on Zarif's dissertation committee, recalled, "Good in the classroom. At that time, I thought he'd play an important part in his country's life." Zarif was appointed a member of the Iranian delegation to the United Nations in May 1982 largely due to his English-speaking ability and relationships in America, rather than formal diplomatic training. As a junior diplomat, Zarif was involved in negotiations to win the release of U.S. hostages held by pro-Iranian gunmen in Lebanon. According to the memoirs of former United Nations envoy Giandomenico Picco, even though the United States did not make a promised reciprocal goodwill gesture at the time, Zarif remained committed to improving ties. In 2000, Zarif served as chairman of the Asian Preparatory Meeting of the World Conference on Racism and as the chairman of the United Nations Disarmament Commission. Zarif was also professor of international law at the University of Tehran. He served as the vice president of Islamic Azad University in charge of foreign affairs from 2010 to 2012 under Abdollah Jazbi. He has served on the board of editors of a number of scholarly journals, including the Iranian Journal of International Affairs and Iranian Foreign Policy, and has written extensively on disarmament, human rights, international law, and regional conflicts. Zarif served as Iran's representative at the United Nations from 2002 to 2007. He was closely linked with developing the so-called Grand Bargain, a plan to resolve outstanding issues between the US and Iran in 2003. Zarif, during his time at the UN, held private meetings with a number of Washington politicians, including the then Senators Joseph Biden and Chuck Hagel. He resigned from office on 6 July 2007. He was succeeded by Mohammad in the post in 2007. Zarif was a headline speaker at an American-Iranian Council conference in New Brunswick, New Jersey, including Chuck Hagel, Denis Kucinich, Nicholas Kristof, and Anders Leiden to discuss Iranian-American relations and potential ways to increase dialogue and avoid conflict. On 18 November 2008, Zarif claimed that Washington is conspiring to foment discord among Iranians in order to topple the Tehran government, saying, "The concept of a velvet revolution in Iran should not be considered as groundless fear." On 23 July 2013, it was reported